1 in 3. So 1 in 3 women have experienced some form of domestic violence, whether that's slapping, pushing, punching, or hitting. 1 in 4 women have experienced severe forms of domestic violence. 1 in 9 men have experienced severe intimate partner violence in their lifetime. You know, they say that on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. These numbers are staggering, and that's why it's so difficult sometimes to understand why there is such a stigma involved with it. And it's not against the victims that the stigma is there or that the secret is there. It's more involved with the abusers themselves. The abusers don't want their mask to fall off and for people to see them as the evilness that they are. They don't want people to know how evil they can be and how they destroy the people they say that they love. So these numbers are, like I said, just completely staggering. Some of the other numbers that you'll see is that on average in the U.S., every day 3 women are murdered, killed by people who say that they love them. That is power and control. That is the ultimate form of control right there, is to take someone's life because they couldn't continue having the power and control over them. And that's what makes the abuser so dangerous, is when they lose that control, they lose themselves. So the victims that are out there, and some more staggering numbers. Let me step back to the numbers real quick. But teen dating violence, okay, and that's where mine started, right? So 1 in 3 young people will be in an abusive or unhealthy relationship. That's one, and then 1 in 4 teenage girls, and these are from the ages of 12 to 19. Some of the statistics that you'll see range all the way up into the to 24. But where is that? I'm kind of looking at my computer because I saw this just a minute ago. Violent behavior, okay, and this is on dosomething.org, and I'll share these links. But violent behavior often begins between the 6th grade and 12th grade. 72% of 13 and 14-year-olds are dating. That's why I say it is so important to get this information, these red flags, these warning signs, get the information out there about what an actual healthy relationship is early. You've got to raise your kids in a healthy environment. And if you're not in a healthy environment, you need to explain to them, you need to sit down, you need to have a talk with them about what respect, mutual respect, communication, loyalty, faithfulness, caring. You have to sit down with your kids and do that. And that's why I think that it's so important for organizations to be able to reach these young people, because it starts as early as the 6th grade, experiencing some form of violent behavior. And maybe it's not violent behavior, maybe it's abusive behavior in harassment. Technology is crazy, right? So kids as young as in the 6th grade have cell phones, or they have iPads, some form of technology where they're getting communications through social media apps, and the harassment is there. So, we hear so much about bullying and the cyber stalking and stuff, and that includes kids that are in love, okay? So, I'm so passionate about this because I want kids to understand, and I want young tweens and teens and young adults to understand what these red flags, warning signs are that are out there, and the difference between an unhealthy, abusive relationship and a healthy relationship, and what they can do about that. They don't talk about it. And one of these, where was that? It says that only 1/3 of the teens who were involved in an abusive relationship confided in someone about the violence. So they don't talk about it. Okay, maybe they get online. Maybe they don't even understand that what they're going through is unhealthy. Okay, jealousy is such a big part of it. I can't believe that you talked to that boy, or oh, I saw you flirting with so and so. Jealousy is such a big part of it, and so they think, oh, well, this is normal. He's jealous, so he loves me. He doesn't want me talking to anybody else because he just wants me to himself. Yeah, he does. He wants you just to himself. He doesn't want you to be able to talk to anybody else. He wants to isolate you so that he can control you and have that power over you. But it goes on, and like I said, the teenage dating is there. It's whether they're in a boyfriend, girlfriend, or if it's just a friend type, one's trying to get with the other, but the technology is there for them to harass them, stalk them, and abuse them emotionally and psychologically just over text messages. So they don't have to be face to face. They don't have to be in the same room with each other. They don't have to live in the same household. It's still there. The abuse is still there. Talk to your kids. No matter how young they are, talk to them and tell them what is right, what is wrong with relationships. But like I said, the numbers are out there. 1 out of 3. These are your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, your co-workers, your friends, your neighbors. Think about that. I mean, literally, all you have to do is start counting off some of the females that you know and name. Can you recognize them? Can you recognize which one of your friends is a victim of domestic violence or has been a victim of domestic violence? And I will pretty much tell you that sometimes you're not going to be able to know. You're not going to be able to tell because they're the ones with the biggest smiles. They're the ones with the most positive attitude and the most gracious hearts because of what they've been through or because of what they're going through. These are people that have good hearts and want to forgive and want to have hope. So you may not be able to recognize. There is no discrimination when it comes to domestic violence. Domestic violence does not care how old you are, what color your skin is, your socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter if you live in a 4,000 square foot house or a double wide trailer. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you live in government housing, if you live in an apartment, if you drive a Lexus or you drive a Hyundai. Domestic violence does not discriminate. Some of the abusers, and you'll find them in every walk of life. Okay, these are not that all just blue collar workers that make $10 an hour. These are law enforcement officers, judges, lawyers, doctors, CEOs, CFOs, and you know what? The victims are the same. The victims are law enforcement officers, judges, lawyers, doctors, CEOs, and CFOs. They're successful businesswomen. They're the ladies that smile and take your order in the drive-thru. These are the victims that you see every day, but you don't recognize it because they put on the face that they know they have to just to get by. And a lot of times they do struggle to get by. They struggle to get up in the mornings. They struggle to put a smile on their face. They struggle to get through each and every day. But they do it because they're strong and because they have a good heart. These are the ladies that suffer from anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, maybe even suicidal attempts. But if you suffered and went through some of the trauma that they went through, then you would understand. You would understand why they would flip their lid over something. The complex PTSD that I talked about, one of the signs or symptoms that's related to that is hypersensitivity. A guy, and I love him to death, I won't say who it was, but that I worked with, when I would be sitting in my office, typing on the computer, focused on what I was doing, he thought it was hilarious to slap the inside of my wall in my office and scare the absolute crap out of me. He didn't know. He didn't know that that one action was a hypersensitivity reaction from me. Yes, when you get scared, you know, you have that initial, ugh. You may scream a little bit or you may go, ah. But for me, I would sweat. It would take about 15, 20 minutes for my heart rate to come down. I would literally scream. I would start shaking. He didn't know. He thought it was funny. And I laughed along with it. That's the hypersensitivity. Loud noises get you. You're overly scared about everything. People sneaking up behind you. That's one of the parts of complex PTSD. But like I said, if you understood what victims actually go through, sometimes in their day-to-day lives, walking on the eggshells, being on edge, never knowing what was going to happen when they walk through the door or when their abuser walked through the door. What kind of day am I going to have? And a lot of times you can tell within a split second. They walk through the door, you look at their face, and you know what kind of night you're going to have. They recognize it. They look for those small signs, whether it's a look on the face, a curt word, a short phrase, the way they walk, the way they respond. You can tell in a split second what kind of evening you're going to have. And so it's the abuser or it's the victim's choice at that point. Do I put on my happy face and pretend everything is okay? Do I try to confront them just to go ahead and get it out of your system? And you know what? Sometimes the victims will actually do that. They can actually control when an explosive action happens. So they know that the tension is building. They know that something is coming. They know that their abuser has something in their head. And so they just want to get it out. And they can trigger that explosion themselves. And they do that when they know that they can control their environment. Whether the kids are out, the kids are outside playing, the kids are with the neighbors, the kids are with some family members, whatever. So anyway, as you go through your day, the next couple of days, look at those women. Count 1, 2, 3. Is she a victim? Is she a victim? And if you think about it, if 1 out of 3 women are victims of domestic violence, then that probably means that 1 out of 3 men that you know are abusers. So count the men that you know. 1, 2, 3. Is he an abuser? You have to speak out. Some form or fashion, whether you're a victim, whether you've ever been a victim, whether you're an abuser. Most abusers won't. Okay? They want to keep that false mask on. Even if you've never been a victim before. Even if you can't even imagine what it's like to live in that kind of environment, because you have been lucky enough, blessed enough to be loved completely and healthy. Speak out. We have to speak out in order for our children to know that it is wrong. We have to speak out so that our children know what a healthy relationship is, how to get out, how to stop it. Get out before it's too late. God bless each and every one of you. Speak out.